Alright, I'm back to film a very special video that I've contemplated for a long time, but the video I want to film is all about my first year teaching. So, this past school year of 2016-2017 was my very first year teaching ever, with no formal education training, nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. My very first year walking in front of 25 students, twice a day, teaching. So you may not know, but I'm actually a nurse by trade, and I was approached last May or June of 2016 about this teaching position. I saw it on Facebook from an old teacher of mine who now is an administrator at the building, and she messaged me and she said, "Hey, I really think you'd be great for this job. You should apply for it." So I started applying for it, and the Ohio Department of Education, their applications are extremely long, extremely long. I got to a certain part in the process where it was asking for qualifications, and I had none of them. Zilch, like zero, none of them. And so I got really disheartened and I closed the email or the application, and I just said, forget it, it's not meant for me. So fast forward to 2 weeks later, and this administrator messages me and she says, "Hey, I saw you started applying. You need to finish applying. I think you're made for this job. I think this job is for you." So I messaged her back and I said, "I'm not qualified. I got to this page where it asks for all of these things." She said, "It doesn't matter. We know that as a career technical education school, you're coming from the workforce, and we're not expecting you to have those things. We'll put you through that schooling that you need." And I thought, oh, awesome, this is incredible. So I finished the application, and within like a week or two, I want to say I had an interview, and within I think 2 to 3 weeks after the interview, I got the call that I got the job. So this is like mid-July. I want to say around July or mid-June, something. I know there was a whole month where I didn't work before school started, and school started August 16th, and I had to report August 13th, something like that, and I had orientation leading up to it. So there was a good time frame, but for that time frame I had no idea what to do. Like, I started binge watching YouTube, binge watching a bunch of teachers, and there was a specific set of videos. It was by a teacher, I think he was in California, called Agape Management, and I watched him, and oh my gosh, I thought I knew everything just based on watching that video. Just based on those 3 videos alone, I'm like, oh, I got this, no problem. And so then they sent me through some professional development. One was a course that I actually took again this summer up at Miami University in Oxford, and I got really nervous after that one class. Really, really nervous. Like, I can't do this. I'm not qualified. Oh my gosh, these kids are going to eat me alive. I was so nervous. And then it came time for corporate orientation, and I saw so many people that I knew when I went to school there. So it was different. Definitely different. But that just re-energized me. I knew that I was at the right place for the right company at the right time in my life, and I was excited. So we had 2 days of professional development before our junior students arrived, and I spent that day getting to know my co-teacher and pre-planning the lessons. So my first day of school was planned the day before school started last year, which is nuts, but I did it, and it was successful, and it was a great day. So fast forward, we get into the school year, and you know, it was rough. It was rough. Like, I remember the first month of school, I would come home at night, and goodness, I'd come home at night, I would sit down, not intending to go to sleep, and I would go to sleep, pass out on the couch like 6 o'clock, and not wake up till the next morning. So everything was going pretty well. I was always tired, which I'm told is completely normal, but who knows. And after a while, like, I got into the groove of things, let's say. My biggest struggle the first 2 months of school was balancing like my own standards of what I needed to do versus what I actually had to do. And the biggest one is, as a nurse, you're trained not to leave things for the next day or the next shift. Like if you have an assignment, you need to get it done before that shift starts. And so I was struggling with leaving anything on my desk or leaving anything undone for the next day or that week. Like I hated it. I couldn't leave stuff in like a drawer that says to pass back or to be graded or to be filed. Like I couldn't have those drawers, couldn't function with those drawers. So I was always there kind of late, always working. I'd come home, and if I did wake up early, I would work. But I kind of got into the swing of things. And then, due to unforeseen circumstances, my co-teacher at the time, who I now have a new co-teacher, but my co-teacher at the time, she had some family medical issues, and so she actually quit, which is fine. But it made things really hard. I then became not only just a teacher of 50 or 45-ish, so I had 25 juniors and 25 seniors, so 50. So, 50 students to a teacher of 75 students. And I was lesson planning for 3 separate classrooms that were all at 3 different places, and that's when my year got rough. And I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember any part of that time of the school year. From around October to the end of January, beginning of February, I just don't remember it because I was working for 2 teachers and always busy and all of that. And I had such great support. It was during that time frame that the one thing I do remember is the support of other educators and my instructional coach. This is when it was really solidified for me that I was at the right place. This is the right place that I'm starting my educational journey, and this is the right staff. As a nurse, I worked in places where people are very catty, and that's fine. I just kind of shell in and help where I can, but I don't look to make friends. And it was during those couple of months from October until almost February that I developed lifelong relationships and friendships with my coworkers, and it was transformational, and it's inspiring, and it makes me love going to work even more. So I love my kids, and they're the reason I go to work every day. But now that I have coworkers that I can really rely on and trust and know that they'll be there for me to help me is amazing. It's amazing. So despite how hard I was working and how overwhelmed I always knew somebody was there to listen. Somebody was there to come in and say, hey, what help do you need today? Or what can I do for you today? There was always somebody there checking on me, and that was amazing. And then like end of January, beginning of February, my new co-teacher started, and she is a godsend. I really think God placed her in my life at the right time, because I was getting to that point where I was just worn down, beat up. I didn't really care about the content or the quality of the content. I cared about the content. I was more focused on delivering it and hoping they learned something than making it worthwhile to them, if that makes sense. And that makes me sad that I think about it now, and I was kind of at that place. So yeah, she came in at the best time. She and I actually went to the school at the same time, had nothing to do with each other. I was very stuck up. I will say, like, nose in the air, stuck up, snooty, didn't talk to anybody if they weren't directly related to me or the classes I was taking at that time. She was in the same program I was in. She was the year under me. And, we left school and we just kind of went different ways. But now, like, looking at things, I don't think I could go forward without her. That sounds so crazy to say, but I'm so dependent on her to help me stay sane. But she also gives me great ideas, and she's really transformed the way I educate my students, and I can't say enough good things about her. So she started in February, and from February on, it was like the year got easier. My workload got less. I was a better teacher, I was a better wife, I was a better mom, all that. Oh my gosh, all so much better. And it was around this time that I was able to spend more time in developing relationships with my students. So throughout the year, I don't want to say I was cold and cut off. I made relationships, and I really began to like my students, and I really think they began to like me. But it was around that time when my co-teacher came in that it was just, everything changed. I was able to actually like have time to talk and care about what was going on and share with my students the reason we do some of these things, instead of just saying, well, this is the way it is and that's the way it's going to be, sorry. I was able to say like, hey, this is the reason I'm give out my cell phone number, or this is why I run the classroom this way, or this is why. And once they actually like were able to see it and connect those pieces, they're like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. So much of this first year is just a blur. It's just a blur. There's big milestone moments, which are kind of the ones I've talked about. But I've learned so much. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you can't be an effective teacher if you just do things the same all the time. Your classroom and your students are different year to year. And I'm so excited to meet this new batch of students. And I hope everything that I've prepared for this summer is actually effective and it will work with these students. I hope that student-led classroom goes over well. I hope that my classroom management system continues to work as well as it did last year. I know there will need to be tweaks, and we have made some, but I'm so alive in my career, and I'm so on fire for my students and watching them succeed and being a part of their success. It's incredible. It's incredible. But the culmination of my first year of teaching had to have happened when my students, my very first group of senior students, graduated last year in May. And standing on that stage, being there to hug them as they got their diplomas was amazing. Was amazing. And that group of students, we worked hard. We worked really hard. The beginning of the year, they're coming off of just having 2 teachers retire. So 2 teachers retired, and they had 2 new teachers their senior year of high school. And we combined 2 classes into one, because one class had like 9 students and the other had 14. So they overcame so many obstacles, and there was so much hard work and emotion put into by those students and myself, that night was all about us. And it was so awesome to share in that success with them, to know that they just didn't get their diploma. They overcame obstacles and they learned how to grow and grow with one another and work as a team. And I don't know that any senior ceremony I go to will ever be the same. I don't think they'll ever be the same, because no group of students will have to have worked as hard as they did. No group of students will have to have overcome as much as they did. They knew that they were going to have 2 brand spanking new teachers who had never had teaching experience before, and they didn't care. They wanted their education, and they wanted to be better and to have a plan for their life. And that's what they focused on, and they came back and they gave us a shot. It was rough. It was rough. But they taught me so much. They taught me how to love when love doesn't need to be given. They taught me how to give somebody chance after chance after chance, because there were days when I messed up and they didn't care, and they came back every day with good attitudes, and they worked hard. And they taught me what perseverance looked like. There are so many kids in that class. They taught me a lot. They taught me a lot. They taught me that my perfect little bubble isn't what the rest of this world looks like. And they taught me that there are so many students in this world that have gone through so much more than any of us adults have. And there's so many different circumstances and situations that they're having to go through that none of us ever experienced. And they conquered it with class. With class. It wasn't perfect every day, but they did it with class. And I am and forever will be amazed to them. So if you're watching, know that I love you. Each and every one of you, I love you. And you taught me so much, and every student that comes after you, you play a part in their education, and you play a part in changing their world, because you changed mine. So, off the sappy train. My first year was a whirlwind, and I start school in, holy moly, 7 days. 7 days. I start school in 7 days, and I I can't wait. I think you probably will see this the day I start school, so I probably will pre-schedule this for that first day of school. But my, what a year it was. What a year it was. And I've got some gray hair to prove it. I've got some more wrinkles to prove it. But I'm so excited to take what I learned in my first year and bring it back to my second year of teaching, and then to bring it back into my third, and to bring it back into my fourth year of teaching. That first year, it was a life changer. It was a life changer, and I haven't even talked about what happened in my personal life that first year. So, I am so glad I was able to share this with you guys. My students that graduated 2017, if you watch this, I miss you guys. Come back and see me this year. And here's to year 2. Oh my gosh! 7 days.